Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the pilot episode of our Beacon Breakdown. It is going to be a show dedicated to discussing the intimacies and the program happenings here at Valpo Esports. My name is Keegan Thompson, also known as Laird. I'm joined with my good friend and colleague Tristan.
My name's Tristan Leonard, so I'm director of recreation or campus recreation here at Valpo University, but also oversee the esports program. So groundbreaking stuff going on today.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, as you guys can see, this is in our new space in the basement of the Har Union building. And we got ourselves our good old fashioned streaming room, fit with picture of a guy who founded the program a couple years ago or helped found it, and then good flags. So you guys can head over to the merch site as well if you want to pick up those flags. But let's talk about really what we're doing here, because in the past couple of years, Tristan, this program's gained quite a lot of legitimacy, not just within the realm of Valpo as a school, but in the realm of collegiate esports as a whole.
Yeah, I think as we've gone on through time, we've gotten to a point where we just don't want to just start and stop the stream, right? Or just post to Twitter or Instagram. We need to find a way to connect, tell our story, and update people on what's going on. And so, you kind of had this idea where we can jump on the mic, talk to people every week, and uh, see where it takes us.
Yes. So, while it is myself and Tristan here on the camera, we got our good friend Mike behind running production. He is our, I forget what his title is within the program, but a graduate assistant here
Hmm.
within the program. So he's in charge of production, making sure everything's running smoothly. And we thank him very much for his time because he didn't need to be here today. But we have an interesting and a very exciting program for you guys lined up. But for those of you who aren't super familiar with all of our teams in this program, let's go into that and talk about where we are and where we are heading over the course of the semester. And let's start with our newest team, which would, I believe, be the iRacing team, which we started up last year.
Yeah, so iRacing is one of those esports teams that when we're talking to other schools, they're like, "What? You have one of those?" It's still really new in the collegiate community, and you saw Nace step up and provide a great tournament for that last year with a couple of races, and the Collegiate iRacing League has also done really well itself. So our iRacing team in years past has just been one driver, and at the end of last year we added a second one, and now we've doubled and we've gone up to four. So to have an iRacing team and have a stable of drivers now, really, with everything they're doing has been a lot of fun this fall.
Yes, and I've been very exciting whenever I come into practice. I'm here for the Smash team. I'm team captain, and whenever I'm hosting my practices, I can always look over in the corner and see a bunch of people huddled around the virtual setup we have with the steering wheel and everything. So that team is led by Ricky Paz, who is, I think, one of the people who helped create iRacing as a whole.
Yeah, Ricky has been with me every step. I met Ricky his first day on campus at Focus, and he discussed his vision, and we worked together to really put this into play. So Ricky has kind of taught me, as we've gone through this on what it is and how we can really expand and scale this up.
Right. So their first competition is this evening. I don't know where it's going to be streamed or what it's going to be on. I'm not sure if you have the insider details on that, but I will say that we are very excited to see how our boys do because, if I'm not mistaken, not only is Ricky team captain, one of the creators, but he's also rather talented behind the sticks.
Yeah, absolutely. Ricky actually qualified for one of the NASCAR races last year within NACE. He actually raced under the eNASCAR Coca-Cola banner. It was really cool to see. Cool to see Valparaiso University get that airtime. But yeah, tonight the Collegiate iRacing League on Twitch. So they have their own Twitch channel that they generally broadcast. I believe Monday nights are road races, Tuesday nights are oval. So we get 2 nights of racing every single week.
And if you guys are NASCAR fans, anywhere where you are, and we're also 3 hours north of Indianapolis, which is the racing capital of the world. If you guys are interested in tuning in on that, make sure you do so because that program, in particular, has an excellent future ahead
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah.
And speaking of programs with excellent futures ahead of them, let's talk about Rocket League. So if you guys didn't get your uh, mechanical vehicle fix in with our iRacing team, Rocket League's got you. And if you also like European sports, it's basically car soccer. And we have a number of good teams. I believe we have two teams, Rocket League. I don't know if we've changed that number at all.
Nope, we still have the two teams. We have Rocket League Brown and Rocket League Gold. Yeah, they've had quite a bit of success. We're in the early stages of the NACC and activation week and everything they're going into, but these teams are really rearing and ready to go. You know, our Brown team is really led by our first 4-year starter in the program. So Cole Rocks, really excited to get things going this fall. But we're returning that entire roster, and Rock League Brown is a team that had tough luck when it came to last year's record. You know, the record wasn't where it should be, but then after everything, they had 4 or 5 games that they lost in 5 games total. So it could
Yeah.
have easily been, you know, a 9-1 season instead of the other way around. So I know Brown is really rearing to go.
And Rocket League's one of those games where it really can just come down to the last second of any given match. And the fact that we were able to take some of the best teams in the conference to the ropes like that, and still qualify for playoffs despite some bad luck going our way, it's a very good sign for the future. And I know in recent weeks the team's been grinding. They've been practicing pretty much every opportunity they have. Some nights I'll be at my dorm, just working on my computer, and I'll just hop into the Discord server, and I'll see like two full voice chats of people. And Rocket League is a 3-player team in any individual match, but I'm talking like 2 full servers filled up with like 6 people each. So not only are people playing, but they're also watching their teammates play, trying to give them advice, figuring out what the opponent's doing, and they're scrimmaging with each other and themselves. And steel sharpens steel like man sharpens man, and some inter-program competitivity will
Absolutely.
definitely go a long way for those guys. And
Hmm.
playoff hopes still alive this season, still very much alive, and I'm very excited to see them. I feel like they're one of our diamond in the rough teams. Teams that just had a lot of bad luck, but once they are able to put everything together, they will go along together swimmingly.
Yeah, and this is, you know, I mean, Valpo Gold themselves. So we talked Brown a little bit, but Gold themselves had themselves quite the year last year. You know, went all the way in the fall to the championship before losing a heartbreaker to Center College. But Gold is captained by Daniel Murphy, who is now in his 3rd year on Gold too. So they're really excited to get up and going. But yeah, um, I'm just really excited to see what both.
Back. Sorry about that, guys. We had a bit of a conundrum with our program here tonight. Could not get through the first pilot episode without something like this happening, right? Just our luck.
I mean, that's just been what's been going on every stream it seems. So we're 3 for 3 now with streams this year and something going wrong. So we got to keep this, keep it going. It's a streak now.
Yeah, I've said it before. I'll say it again. We're nothing if not consistent. So before we were so rudely interrupted, we were singing the praises of Valpo Gold, the Rocket League team led
Mhm.
by Captain Smurfy.
Yeah. So really, like I had mentioned, they're right there too. I mean, both of these teams on their respective levels are really on the cusp of what we're doing, and so we're just itching to get back to things this fall. I mean, Rocket League led by Coach Jeff, he sees it too. You know, in our coaches meetings, he's harping on it too. You know, the players are working hard, the players are grinding day in day out. So let's just get through one more week of activation in NECC and see where it takes us.
Yes, and then heading on to our next team, League of Legends, who I believe is one of the longer running programs within the Valpo Esports
It is.
branch.
It's the OG of the Valpo Esports program. Yeah, the Brian, you alluded to the picture in the back. Brian and I met at Uptown and had a conversation. Said, "Hey, if we start esports, what's our first team?" And we said, "Hey, League of Legends." We had 6 people on the League of Legends team, and now we're here. So yeah, League of
Yeah,
Legends is the OG of our program.
right. And League of Legends for a long, long time has been the biggest esport in the world as a whole.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest productions go into League of Legends, courtesy of Riot. So we thank them very much for actually giving back to their scene that they've helped cultivate. But speaking of those scenes, we got one right here. A whole lot of players, and of all the teams that I see in the lab the most often, it would probably have to be a toss up between the League of Legends team and the Overwatch team.
Yeah, and I would say this about any of our teams, but I'm really excited about League this year. Like we've kind of gone through a growth cycle with this League of Legends team, and this year they're so young, but they're so hungry. Yeah, like I mean, we could look out the door right now and see them practicing. And,
Yeah,
and practice actually starts tonight. I saw the Discord at 6:30.
at
So
6:30,
y-
and they
yeah.
they were here like an hour before either of us got here. It's 3 o'clock for us or an hour before the stream
Hmm.
started,
Hmm.
and they were here. They were talking to each other, getting some good commentary in, and they have been particularly working very hard. They grind for hours and hours. I came in here to do my own broadcast using the stream on Saturday, I believe, and they were huddled up at the TVs by the Smash setup watching a major tournament for League of Legends.
Mhm,
And the coach was with them, a bunch of the players were with them. They were talking about some of the stuff that they were seeing the pros do, and we're like, oh, we could do that. Yeah, we could replicate that. So
mhm.
they're game planning. Whenever they're practicing or whenever they're not practicing, they are talking about the game. They're trying to figure out how they can win their division this season. And frankly, we said it before. The iRacing team, the Rocket League team, now talking about League of Legends, the dedication of the students within this program is truly awe-inspiring to me.
And the thing with League of Legends that's different than some of those other teams is they're not a lack of consistency, but roster consistency. Each year
Right.
there's been some turnover when it comes to the actual roster, and this year they're really feeling strong because they built a cohesive group towards the end of last year. We had some major success in the league program with the CLOL tournament, getting to the semifinals and pulling up a few upsets there. And so to bring that core back, add a couple of people that we've had come in this fall who have also been heavy hitters into this team. It's going to be a really successful year. Again, we don't measure success by wins and losses, but by what we're seeing in the lab, what we're seeing this group come together as, man, they've already improved.
Yes, and I believe they're competing in multiple conferences this year, if I'm not mistaken.
They are. So the program as a whole actually has entered the Great Lakes Esports Conference, and so Smash was there last year, kind of dipping our toes in the water. But with Great Lakes' expansion this year, we've also expanded with them, and so it's not just going to be Smash; it's going to be League of Legends, and then either Rocket League or Overwatch this spring. But yeah, League of Legends took the dive, joined Great Lakes with you, and they're really starting to reap the rewards.
I'm very excited to have some of our family come over to those events with us whenever we get to land season. Because it was kind of, I don't want to say weird, but a little bit lonely being the only Valpo team at the venue last year. We're going to get into that in just a second, but I believe their first competition is going to be this weekend, unless they've already competed before.
Well, so they've had NECC already,
Right,
the activation, but they've actually already played 2 collect games. So they opened their first weekend with a very hard-fought loss. Actually, game 2 ended up going, what, like 43 minutes or something before game 3 was a tough loss. But then they just won this past weekend, so they're 1-1 already in Gleck. NECC starting to fire up, so yeah, they're on the way.
right. And I'm very excited to see how far they go. So let's just talk briefly about Magic the Gathering and our other card game teams here. That's a bit of new area for me. And I'm not sure what about the program that I really don't, but I believe they're trying to find their own tournaments to compete in at this point, and they've been working hard on the side. The Magic team always is talking about strategies that they could use in their deck building at any given moment. I don't have notifications turned off for our Discord server, so my phone blows up at the dead of night, just like, why are they talking about dragons? What's going on here?
So your knowledge of the TCG team is probably as much as mine at this point.
Right,
No, we're really excited. So Josh came to me. Josh, the captain of TCG, also on League of Legends, came to me a few years back and had this vision for Magic the Gathering. I was fully behind it. We were really excited. COVID came and took that vision out. Yeah, CSL no longer supported Magic the Gathering,
mm,
and we kind of weren't sure what to do, and we didn't want to dismantle it. There's a space in the collegiate realm for TCG trading card games, but we weren't sure quite how to approach it. And we were really excited this last couple of weeks. Mike and I met with Josh, and we found collegiate competition. So for the first time, this fall, we're going to have an actual legitimate tournament for the TCG team. There were some one-off tournaments the last couple of years, but
right.
actually, this weekend, this weekend will
Yeah,
be their
okay.
first tournament.
Because I
Yeah,
was talking
yeah,
with Josh, and he said our competition is this weekend,
yeah.
and I said, okay, great. Which team? Because he's competing. He's one of our many players here that are competing in multiple esports at the exact
Mhm,
same time.
mhm. And Hearthstone is nice, so they'll be competing in Hearthstone this weekend. But Hearthstone is
Cool.
nice because it's not a league where they're competing every single week.
Right.
Hearthstone just has a couple of qualifiers, and then they'll play it out from there. But yeah, they'll have their first Hearthstone tournament this week, and then I believe we found actually 3 total this.
That's pretty good, all things considered.
And then that's also fun because Josh, who's not in the United States can still compete because
Yes,
time zone differences are going to work out. So it's going to be a really cool aspect to have one of our players compete not actually here at the university in person.
in person, yes.
Mhm.
So, this brings us to the Smash team, which is, my bread and butter. That's my territory. So I'm team captain of the Smash team here at Valpo. For those of you who don't know me, and I'm very excited about our squad we have coming up this year. We've already played technically 2 weeks, but we've only had one official match. We got a 2-0 win over Defiance 2 weeks ago, and this past weekend we had a disqualification win over Marion Tech. So we are actually competing in two conferences this season as well. We have the NECC activation matches going on right now. We have our second round of those tomorrow, which will place us into a division to go against our upcoming opponents or whatever, what have you guys. And we have two players, myself and our freshman. Weston, aka Cheetah Quick 9, competing in singles
Mhm.
for NECC as well. So we've done our placements for those. And then Gleck, obviously with its expansion and with our firm root in that scene last year, we've decided to kind of push the envelope and try to continue our dominance across the Gillette conference. Not that we're putting NECC by the wayside, but the fact that we have more competitions to choose from means our players are going to be consistently getting more reps and more experience. And frankly, I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about our new players. We have three this season. We have Jaden, we have Mac, and we have Weston, who I spoke about earlier. So it's going to be very fun. Last year, we went into a deep, deep playoff run. Both semesters, actually. Our fall semester, we
Mhm.
got third place, tied in the conference. We lost in semifinals, and then in the previous, we went to literally last game of the last set, and we could not bring it home at the Gleck LAN against Manchester, who are becoming very quickly our conference rivals. Um, but I'm very excited for our team this season, and have a nice new space, a competition setup that is exclusively for competition this year that we didn't have the opportunity to use last season.
Yeah, and it's just been a lot of fun for Smash to have more competition. Last year was kind of last minute finding the Gleck and working that route. We thought we were going to go a different way, and now this year to have so much opportunity um, to play and compete and to not have to scrounge for scrim partners or anything like that.
Right.
This fall is going to be great, I think, across the board. But to have that built in for Smash and not have to worry about anything else has been.
Yes. And let's talk about our crown jewel. I don't think you'll disagree with me in that statement. Um, Valpo Overwatch. So obviously we have two teams for Overwatch as well. We have Shield and we have Beacon. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Team Beacon last year who posted multiple undefeated seasons and multiple conference titles, as well as a national championship run.
Yeah, so Beacon did win the NECC Navigators Divisional National Championship last year after having two incredibly strong seasons. The fun thing is Beacon's back, fully loaded with a target on their back this fall. But Shield is back and potentially stronger than ever at this point too. And so, and when we look at Overwatch as a whole, not only are they just going out and competing day in and day out, but it's also our largest roster. And so,
Right.
Overwatch having so many players and then being dealt the curveball this fall of saying, hey, by the way, your game's changing,
Yeah.
Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, and which changes roster composition and play styles and comps and everything with it. They've got their work cut out for them.
They do. So to discuss briefly some of the changes that are happening between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. So Overwatch 1, it's a 6v6 roster. That number's cut down to 5 going into this year of Overwatch 2. Some of the rosters and the comps are changed because tanks are now buffed, but you only get one of them as opposed to being able to run multiple. So a couple heroes are getting changed. I don't know too much about that, so we're not going to get too much into it. But we do have a number of interesting things. Once competition starts up in the fall after the new game comes out, I'm excited to see how they adapt because, we know we have talented players. We know we have two very solid and strong teams, but will they be able to adapt to the new tide?
Well, and so this is, it's not an Overwatch thing. It's a program. It's a programic theme. when
Hmm.
it comes to us is a lot of our teams, a lot of our players, they don't just say, "Hey, I only play this role. This is what I'm gonna do."
Right.
Yeah, Overwatch is faced with this right now. They're faced with what all of our teams are going through. It's, "Hey, how do we adapt? What can I do best to help the team win?" They're facing it right now, but every other team's done that within the last 2 years or so. I mean, you talk to League of Legends, and I'm talking with the coach on who to recruit and how to recruit, and he's like, "Well, I have 0 ADCs," and the
Right.
first thing someone on the roster says is, "We have 2 junglers. Shoot, let me play ADC." It's just one of those things where our teams are used to this. Gonna take some time, I think, to
Right.
see how it plays out. But that's just kind of what we do.
Flexibility and malleability are two things that are very, very good to seek after whenever you're building teams for any program. Within fighting games, it could be counter picks.
Mhm,
Obviously, character-based esports like League of Legends and like Overwatch and then Valorant, which we don't have a program for yet. But
mhm,
being able to adapt to what your opponents are doing and what they might be weak against, it's a very important part of any competition. So,
mhm.
adapting to a whole new game, it's just another walk in the park for us. I don't want to say it's going to be easy, but it's just an inevitability that we're going to have to do. So, both of our Overwatch teams, both Shielded Beacon, being led by Abby Thompson and Franco, whose last name escapes me at the moment.
I'm gonna butcher it. Franco, I'm so sorry. Raimondi? Right? Raimondi?
Sounds
I know how to
about right.
spell it. I can spell it for you, but I can't. I don't know if I can say it right. I know Franco's been in chat a little bit, so.
Yeah, so two very dedicated captains in their own
Mhm,
rights.
mhm.
With each of their respective teams, they scrim against each other all the time. A lot of friendly competition between two of them, especially the two team captains, and very excited to see what they do this program. So you've alluded to this a little bit earlier, but you've spoken about the team. What can an individual player do for the team? And that even came out in the design of these new uniforms we have this season. On our right shoulders, we have the slogan "We, not me." So, would you like to go into a little bit more detail about what that means to you and to this program as a whole?
For sure, and real quick, Rye, Bone, D. There we go. We got it.
Okay, it's for
All right, we got it.
Franco
Thank you.
Raimondi.
There we go. All right, so we're on time. But we, not me. Um, we've had this since the very first day of the program on the back of our computers, on those desktop backgrounds. It says Valpo Esports, we, not me. I think that's one of the toughest things for esports to get over, right? We're all coming in. I'm guilty of it myself.
Yeah,
We play single player games. We queue up, we queue in, queue out. We're with randoms. We go in and we play for ourselves. Coming into collegiate esports, that's one of the hardest things to get over. Is to simply get over ourselves. How do we go from solo queuing to being a part of something bigger? And I think that's just something that we try to sell, and I think our coaches sell, and our players really thrive in. I think sometimes when you come in, obviously there's a little bit of a change, um, in that you have to get used to it really quickly, but there's that buy-in here. I mean, all of the people, we're over 50 people this fall, um, and the 50 people know that they're a part of Valpo Esports, not just League of Legends, not
right.
just Smash. It's truly about something bigger than who we are.
Right. And let's talk more about something bigger, because we've had the advent of a tremendous amount of changes happening to this program, not only in our accessibility for inside the game, but outside of the game, we have a whole new environment that we are currently sitting in
Mhm.
right now. So obviously, without spilling out any of the confidential details regarding our new space, what was the thought process, if you could go that far with me, about the administration saying, the program's grinded, we're having a lot of success. How did we go from a tiny room with barely enough space for 30 people to a big program with more space than we know what to do with,
Yeah.
extra PCs, extra equipment, and a roster size of 50? What was the trajectory from last year that resulted in these new opportunities this season?
Obviously, from an outsider's perspective, you might look at the national championship trophy sitting out there and say, "Hey, that got you this." But I think overall, I'm not going to speak for upper administration or anything there, but I think honestly, it comes from you. It comes from the players. It comes from the trust that the university has in this program and the students. themselves to actually be ambassadors for the university, to be when we talk student athletes, what's that first word? Student. To be these great high achieving perform in class and then to go out and perform on the PC or the Nintendo themselves. But I think that's where it came from. We went from again we had first year we had 500 square feet, second year we had 1,000 square feet, and now to look out and we have 3,500 square feet plus at this point. I really think it's a testament to what you all have done to put in the work, not only in the classroom but on the competitive surface too.
Right. So, I don't want to call anyone out here, but I would really like to extend, some heartfelt gratitude for to the university, to Valparaiso, for allowing us to not only have this space, but also to deck it out with everything we could possibly need to have successful seasons here. I mean, we have a streaming room so that we can actually, televise and discuss the program more in depth. Obviously, we have this podcast here, the Beacon Breakdown,
Mhm.
that we just started on a whim with a lot of planning involved, so that we can, make sure that the program is legitimized. Obviously, we've been legitimized through our successes, our bouts with other teams, our conference wins and deep runs and losses, and ultimately the amount of grind we put into it. But going forward, legitimizing ourselves might not just mean the wins. It's also how we carry ourselves within this new space, within this program. But also what we do with the gifts we've been given and how far we can really stretch this program.
Yeah, and I think you just hit the nail on the head, right? And it's very thankful to the university for the foresight that they had to, see where we can go from here. But it's what are say we loosely because I'm just here. I'm just
Right.
sitting in this
Yeah.
chair. It's what is Mike going to do with this opportunity? What are you going to do with this person? What is each player who steps foot in the door in the next week? Every time they step in here, what are they going to do with this opportunity we have? And that's again not just wins and losses, but how do we write the next chapter for the students that are coming in this program in 2 years and 4 years?
Right. Right. So, I believe that's going to take us to about the end of what we hope to accomplish today, Tristan.
Mhm.
This program obviously has nowhere to go but up, and we're heading in that trajectory. It's a straight shot. There's no hills for us right now. We're just going directly up. You know, so we're going to have adversity this season for all of our teams, and we're going to have to find a way to work around it. But I think what we're working on right now is a very, very, very solid foundation, and it's proof that we have earned this space and the titles that come with it. But it's also just a taste of really where we could go with this program going forward.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to many a beacon breakdowns throughout the school year,
Yes,
as we do this and we'll have special guests on throughout the
absolutely.
year.
Yes,
And we'll be bringing people in and by and um, shoot us questions. Let us know what you want to hear and want to see, and we can cater it and go from there.
absolutely. So we would like to thank you all for tuning into the pilot episode of the Beacon Breakdown. As Tristan alluded to, much more to come every Monday here on Valpo Esports on twitch.tv at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. Make sure you tune in for some of the comings and goings of the programs, for some special guest interviewees that we're going to be bringing in. But my name's Keegan Thompson, also known as Laird. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Tristan, and for everyone here in the Valpo Esports program, thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you next week.